first for a Prime Minister in his first term, Anthony Albanese's in deep trouble. It's probably true that voters will give a first-term incumbent the benefit of the doubt, because the latest polls still have the government and the opposition tied at 50-50. That's despite all of Labor's brokered promises and its sheer ineptitude. Like its failed voice, a result the Prime Minister owns himself absolutely, and that voters still don't trust he won't try and force in by stealth anyway. Like power bills that have risen by up to $1,000 per household, despite the promises to instead cut them. Mortgage repayments too, they've doubled since Labor was elected, 12 rate hikes under Albanese's watch. Real wages too have fallen, despite Labor's commitment to boost them. And all these new laws for Labor's union mates, the payoff for those election donations, well, they're smashing productivity. Then there's the green obsessions that have all but stopped any new resource developments in this country, killing off our position as a global resource superpower. On health, again today, more nationwide drug shortages are reported, this time for a drug critical for pregnant women. Before that, it was IV fluids. Before that, pain medication for palliative care. As a country, we've never spent more on education, and yet we're falling further and further behind our international competitors. Headlines today report that teachers are quitting in droves, yet the government's focus seems to be about activism in the curriculum. All the while, NAPLAN shows our children are struggling with the basics. Then there's the incompetence and lack of resolve on border protection, foreign criminals let loose in the suburbs, and tourist visas handed out to people from Gaza. On the economy, the unedifying fight between the Treasurer and the Reserve Bank that means fiscal and monetary policy are pulling in opposite directions. A new poll out today reporting that 51% of voters blame the government for high interest rates. Only 27% of them blame the bank. Add in as well Australia's military passivity, almost passivism, as we scale back our firepower and personnel at a time when the challenges have never been greater. All of this cleverly masked by all the talk about the AUKUS commitment, but that's decades and decades away. We need the subs now. It's a sorry indictment on the Albanese government that 2 years in, when by rights they should be still in a honeymoon phase, the polls have them consistently in trouble. The latest, the Red Bridge poll out yesterday, drills down into individual seats as well as the overall vote, and it shows that Labor is almost certain to lose its majority. It indicates that Labor is at least 3 percentage points behind in 5 key seats it currently holds. Paterson and Gilmore, both in regional New South Wales, Aston, that's the outer suburbs of Melbourne, Lions in Tasmania, and the Northern Territory's big seat of Lingiari. Now, beyond those 5 where a loss is predicted, there's another 14 seats that Red Bridge says are too close to call. And of the 14, 9 are currently held by Labor. So that's Hunter, Dobell, Robertson in regional New South Wales, Bennelong in Sydney. There's also Chisholm, Bruce and McEwen in Melbourne's outer suburbs. And in WA, there's the Perth seat of Tangney, as well as the new seat of Bullwinkle, that's notionally Labor, on the last election result. Now, according to the Red Bridge poll, the Liberals are in trouble in 3 places: Hughes, Casey and Ford. Their seats in Sydney, Melbourne and outer Brisbane, respectively. And while Labor might take Brisbane's Ryan back from the Greens, and the Libs and the Nats, well, they face Teal challenges in Wannon and Cowper, the Libs are currently ahead in 2 Teal seats, Goldstein in Melbourne's Bayside area and Curtin in Perth. Now, on these figures, an 18-seat gain that Peter Dutton needs to win government in his own right no longer looks like scaling Mount Everest without oxygen. If he doesn't go early, so on the usual election timetable, we're still 9 months away from the federal poll. Launching an attack ad today against the coalition's nuclear plans, Labor is trying to exploit areas where the Libs have more work to do. But given that elections are essentially a referendum on the government, not the opposition, change is now a real possibility. And the fact that the PM's at war with the unions, the RBA, our resource sector, universities, the CFMEU, and more, all of that means he is distracted. Worse still, the Greens are playing with Labor's head. The ALP is spooked, and it shows, meaning it's choppy waters ahead for the government. And as bad as things are now, in politics, so the saying goes, things can always get worse.